Hello, and welcome to episode 15 of Modern Media Review. I'm Robin Gibson.
And I'm Sean Gollogly.
And before we start this week's review, just the usual plugging to say, if you like the podcast, please visit our YouTube channel and subscribe there if you want. You can also listen on iTunes and Spotify, and we've also got a website called modernmediareview.com, so give that a visit because there's lots of stuff on there. You're very quiet today, Sean.
Well, I was just thinking about it because you did this whole convoluted intro the last time, and we actually got a comment on the page the other day which was about 30 minutes into one of the podcasts.
Someone had listened all the way to the end.
Which, I've got to say, I was amazed by, to be honest.
You shouldn't be amazed. Have more faith. Among the stuff on their website, there's a lot of stuff about the Channel 5 stuttering series, Britain's Favourite, which we did. We covered Britain's favourite chocolates and Britain's favourite chocolate bar, sweet, stuff like that. Anyway, and that was that. And I never thought any more about it until, well, recently I looked at the statistics for the website, and people had started looking at these articles again because Channel 5 had dragged the thing out last weekend into Britain's favourite crisps. Episode 3 in a very tentative series. So I thought we should talk about that again, because this whole Britain's Favourite thing has become a bit of a cult, really. Maybe PR managed by Channel 5, but there was a huge furore about Britain's Favourite crisp when it aired, with articles in The Sun and The Mail.
I'm a little bit cynical about this, Robin. I think it's a little bit like Mojo, where you go back to the future, or you go back to nostalgia.
Yeah, there's no future in this, mate. It's all just back.
Yeah, this whole thing, which we are sort of perpetrating a little bit. It's like Groundhog Day, Robin.
Well, I think it's very interesting because this one, the crisps one, has become a big media thing this week, and, you know, apparently viewers are furious that Monster Munch didn't make the top 10.
Well, isn't everyone always furious about everything?
Yeah, but not... I mean, come on. People tweeting saying it's absolutely sickening and a shit show, a national disgrace. This has got to be orchestrated, hasn't it?
I think sometimes when, you know, Brexit's bearing down on you and all the rest of it, maybe you look for a safer home.
Well, yes, I guess so. I mean, look, we've watched the show, and they've kind of tried to roll it in with Brexit. And
but Robin,
they actually started it by saying, in a time of destiny-shaping polls for Great Britain, thousands of you answered our call. And they had some pictures of Churchill and Beatles and stuff like that.
As you have to. I think you have to do that, don't you?
It's a cult. Like Brexit's a cult, isn't it?
Well, the whole point is that it's just so totally ridiculous that you just have to go... You have to go with it, really. You just have to flow with it. But the thing that I'm worried about is that I think that they kept these so-called celebrities in a sort of like leather-bound prison for about the last 2 years.
Leather-bound?
Well, studded leather, sofa-bound way.
Sounds quite pleasant to me. I mean, they did seem to be wearing the same clothes they were wearing in January. And it was pretty much the same bunch of people, wasn't it? Basil Brush, I mean, Basil Brush won't mind because he's not a person. Dom Joly, Phil Tufnell, Vanessa Feltz, Sue Pollard, Phil Tufnell, blah, blah, blah. Those
Bloody hell, mate, you've done your research.
Those two blokes whose name I can't remember. That woman with a dog puppet that isn't a ventriloquist. We're just like you and me sitting there with someone talking for the dog, you know. And our favourite Hal Cruttenden brackets comedian. And the thing is, man, they've got bored, right? They've obviously done all this in a weekend or something, right? I mean, they haven't been kept there for 3 months. It'd be nice to think of a sort of humanitarian disaster for C-list celebrities, but I think they've done it all in one go. And they're getting so bored when you look at the crisps one. Dom Joly comes on. He comes on and he goes, "There's a huge amount to discuss here." I mean, he's fed up before it starts. There isn't a huge amount to discuss.
He's got this terrible sort of like look about his face that he's thinking, I do not want to discuss this. Even if I'm being paid 50 quid, it's not really worth
50
it.
50 quid? Do you think they get that much?
No chance.
Vanessa and Ben will be on a ton between them. I think this is, all these shows, it's got to be worth, you know, a monkey at least.
Okay.
The whole thing must take ages, because if anyone's actually watched these shows, for every crisp or chocolate bar, they have to present every celebrity with a platter with a lid on it, like the Duck and Faulty Towers, one of the...
Relieve.
What are these things called? I don't eat off them. I don't even know what they're called.
Platters.
Yeah, well, they have to lift the lid off and then everyone has to go, ooh, here's the crisps. That must take ages in itself. No wonder they've got no time to change their clothes.
You know, what they've obviously done is they've signed up to some sort of thing that they didn't realise, is that it made you sort of have to stay there for about 6 months in the studio without changing your pants.
I think the thing is that they've got some kind of dispensation, some sort of idiotic immunity to talking cliches, these people. I mean, they just say the things that you say yourself about crisps. I mean, mind you, they're no worse than the average TV football pundit, are they? You know, where you're watching the telly and you say, oh, the defence is a bit static, and then they say the defence is a bit static. They just tell you what you're already seen.
It's a little bit like you say what you see. Glenn Hoddle, God bless him, we nearly lost him to a heart attack. However, given his level of punditry, I don't think it would have been a huge loss, to be honest.
No.
Because what Glenn says is, the lad's, he's gone up on the right, he's moved the ball over, he's crossed it, the lad's come in, he's headed it, and it's in the back of the net. That's as bad as saying, I had 4 hula hoops on my fingers, and I saw them, and I ate them.
I mean, that's what they were saying, stuff like that. Chipsticks get stuck in your teeth, and hula hoops, we eat them off our fingers, and Wotsits give you stained fingers, which I'd never really noticed. Then the biggest cliche of all, the one that people do discuss, which they discuss typically, is that Walkers have changed the colours round for cheese and onion and salt and vinegar. Everyone knows that. And it's a nostalgia thing, isn't it? Because young people don't remember Golden Wonder.
I think the difficult thing, Robin, what we're missing is the fundamental point of crisps, which was a diversion for your parents to go to the pub at lunchtime, which meant that you sat outside the pub and they brought you a glass bottle of Coke. You don't get that anymore. It's only plastic now, which is bad for the dolphins. And you got it was Golden Wonder.
You can still get them.
You can't get Golden Wonder.
You can otherwise they wouldn't have been in the top 20. I can get them in Morrison's. I've got some in the house, mate.
The next thing you're going to say, you can get Smith's Crisps or...
Oh, no, that's what you can't get if you were watching the programme, which I'm beginning to doubt. Smiths were bought by Walkers, so all these old things that used to be Smiths are now produced by Walkers. Salt and Shake and, I don't know, some other stuff. Squares. Smith's Squares are now Walker's Squares. I noticed that Dom Joly said about Smith's or Walker's Squares, it's got a real vinegar tang, almost acidic, as if he was sort of auditioning for MasterChef.
All I can remember from things like Monster Munch was like a big full-on hit of salt and vinegar.
Anyway, the whole programme just descended into the stuff they did in chocolate bars, where they were singing the old ads, which they showed, and relating a bunch of cliches about what they do with crisps. I can't believe it went on so long. When they got down to number 5, which was McCoy's, these crisps appeared, slabs, these huge thick crisps that hardly anyone had ever heard of. I think it was just a huge product placement, because it looked as if they were number 4, but actually they didn't have a number, and they had the
Well, Robin, it reminds me of this thing we were talking about the other day on one of the other podcasts, is about astroturfing.
Yeah, but this isn't AstroTurf, because there's been no campaign to get slabs. They've just appeared on Britain's favourite crisps. It's not grassroots or AstroTurf. The YouTube was just there saying we wanted to make these big crisps, and then they made a slab which was a sandwich with slabs in it, and got their bloody competitive eater they always have on to eat it really quickly. And anyway, as I said, it looked as if it was number 4. Kettle chips were number 4, and it was such a...
Kettle chips don't count, mate. Kettle chips are middle-class, pre-Brexit crisps that don't actually count. I mean, they're in sort of like saffron and samphire flavours.
Yeah, but there's a market for these slightly posh crisps. Walker Sensations were number 6, weren't they?
Well, not crisps. Not crisps.
Yeah, of course they're crisps. Anyway, can I get to the point about slabs here? The product placement between numbers 5 and 4 was so successful that among some of these articles that are about the furore over the programme, Wales Online published the top 20, and they actually put slabs in at number 4. That's
no
how successful. Yeah, and they ignored kettle chips. Shocking.
Now, Robin, if you had... now, I'm not wishing this on you, yeah?
Okay, I'm glad.
Okay, well, you don't know what's coming. If you were on death row and they told you you can have your favourite dinner, but it's restricted to crisps, what would they be?
Oh, mine hula hoops. Original hula hoops. I love them.
Would you?
Yeah, they're my favourites. I mean, you know what I hate? They had these on here, these big ones they've got, and the puffed ones. That's rubbish. You don't mess with a hula hoop, mate. And I noticed that the celebs, again, and slightly unoriginal because I was saying the same thing, they were the only crisps where they preferred the basic ready salted flavour.
So what you're saying to me is, for your last meal, if it's crisps only, basic hula hoops, yeah?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Or, in fact, the ones from Aldi, which are called hoops, but are actually not. Well, you know, if you shop in Aldi, you think, these are actually the real thing. But various products, right, they're just so similar. But the Aldi were found out, it was in the news, because someone bought a multi-pack of Aldi hoops, and there was a packet of hula hoops in it. They're coming from the same factory, and one dropped in.
That's brilliant.
They're exactly, but they cost a tenth of the price.
Well, I did actually consider this before I asked you the question, because I did think about it. I thought if I had been, some serial killer and I was denied my steak and chips, I might go non-potato based and I might go corn based, which is not strictly crisps.
Yeah, they are crisps. They can be, of course, they're crisps. They're just not potato crisps.
Well, I was out the other day and somebody said, shall we get some snacks? And I thought, yeah, that'd be nice. We'll get some snacks. So my snacks were
was this Alan Partridge you were with?
It wasn't Alan Partridge, but my snacks were Red Stripe and straightforward Walker's Ready Salted. However, it was thrown into the mix that it was okay to buy these parsnip and all sorts of weird crisps. Now, Robin, they're not crisps.
They are. They're just modern crisps. The problem is that all these programmes are about nostalgia. But the fact is, modern crisps like Doritos and Walker's Sensations and Kettle Chips all came pretty high up the public vote. There's a recency bias. It's like when they polled a few weeks ago about election voting, the independent group got quite a high percentage, but by the time it gets to the election, people have forgotten all about it, and they'll come really low down.
No, there's no way that people will forget about those great people, Robin.
Well, no, they've rebranded as Change UK. It was on the news today. That's going to be the name of their party.
What sort of crisps would they eat?
Well, I think they'll be eating the ones from Tesco that were mentioned in the programme, Prosecco and Elderberry.
No way.
That's tricky, Prosecco. Now you get crisps that are flavoured with cheap alcohol.
Foreign stuff.
Yeah, they won't last after Brexit, will they? There was a great little bit in it, though. I don't know if you noticed, about the old brand Tudor crisps from up north. And they actually did this in the 70s or 80s, and they launched an exotic range of flavours, which were... I'd forgotten all about this, but I remembered it. Gammon and pineapple, kipper, chocolate, and hedgehog.
Now, I can't remember the last time I ate hedgehog, Robin.
There wasn't any hedgehog in it, mate.
Well, I think this is where we're going post-Brexit, isn't it? We're going back to sort of rolled hedgehog.
Yeah, and white dog turds. This Britain's favourite thing's going to go on for so long that they'll end up doing dog turds, and white will win because it's the sight of the 70s. I was going to say the smell of the 70s, but the white ones didn't really smell, did they?
And sadly, do you think this is where Dom Joly will die?
Possibly in the room.
Live on TV, he will just sort of keel over and die. He said, I've been here for months and months and months, and I've not been fed. And I don't think I've even been paid.
I noticed that Joe Swash has got himself out of it.
He's escaped.
He's escaped, yeah. We should probably do a little roundup of who's still in it and who's escaped, because he's definitely gone now after kind of virtually helming the first couple of them.
Well, I think what we should do is discover how these celebrities break loose. Because they could be running free in the woods, eating nuts and berries.
I think that what sums up the utter boredom of the whole thing is when they dished up Wotsits, which was number 13. And
I do like Wotsits, got to say, Wotsits.
Yeah, but Dom Joly just said, that's great. It's not even saying they're great, he just couldn't be bothered. He just said, that's great, when they were unveiled.
Well, it's a sort of... There's a finality to that, which I quite like, is what he's trying to do is say, let me out of the room.
I've got nothing more to say about
I have nothing to say about anything. I'm making a finality statement, which is a plea to his captors to let him go.
Yeah, and I'm making a finality statement if there is such a phrase to say, let us go.
Yeah, true.
I think that's enough about Britain's favourite blah, blah, blah.
And Robin, do you know what? I'm with you. But I tell you what, I'm so with the person that commented at the 39th minute the other day. Listen to the end, and I think I would possibly marry that person.
Okay, well, I'll find his name for you. It's a good way to end the show, Sean.
It is, Robin, and it's been quite weird, but I tell you what...
You can say that again. And on that note, we'll be back next week, not talking about Channel 5 documentaries, something else. And we'll say good night.
And good night from him.
Goodbye.